The show opened in its usual storm of applause and flashing lights. Cameras sweeping across an eager audience, hosts grinning, cue cards shuffling, and that practiced energy of television perfection. The View had hyped Michael B. Jordan's appearance all week, teasing his new movie and promising a glimpse into the man behind the star. When he finally stepped onto the stage, the room seemed to brighten. Dressed in a deep navy suit that caught the studio glow just right, he walked with quiet confidence, his presence commanding yet calm. The audience's cheers filled the air, and he responded with that easy smile that had charmed millions. He greeted each host warmly, his body language loose, professional, at home. The opening moments were smooth and lively. Joy Behar cracked a joke about her grandchildren only tuning in when that handsome Creed guy was on, drawing laughter from every corner of the set. Sarah Haynes praised his move into directing, while Ana Navarro ribbed him good-naturedly about his non-stop travel schedule. Michael laughed, his voice steady and low, and spoke about his love for his craft, how storytelling gave him purpose, how representing his community on screen had become more than a career, almost a mission. When he mentioned the late Chadwick Boseman, his tone softened. The audience responded with a warm, collective sigh. For a while, it felt like every talk show producer's dream, a flawless segment. Michael was humble yet confident, witty yet sincere. Every answer felt like a quote waiting to go viral, the kind of charm that came naturally to him. But then, without warning, the atmosphere began to shift. Sunny Hostin, known for her careful but piercing questions, leaned forward. Her tone was calm, almost disarming. "Michael," she said, "you've spoken a lot about growth and as a man, as an artist. But I want to ask something deeper. What does accountability mean to you?" The studio quieted. Michael tilted his head slightly, taking his time. "Accountability," he said slowly, "is about being real with yourself. It's not about perfection. It's about reflection, about being honest when it's hardest to be. When no one's watching, when no one's clapping." His words drew a few nods from the audience, but Sunny wasn't finished. She glanced down at her notes, then back up. "That's a strong answer," she said. "But it reminds me of something. That Creed 3 red carpet moment. When you had that interaction with the reporter Laurel, an old classmate. Some thought you handled it perfectly. Others said you went too far. What would you say to that?" A subtle tension entered the room. The laughter faded into silence. Michael shifted slightly, folding his hands on the table. "I wasn't trying to humiliate her," he said evenly. "I was setting the record straight. People forget, before the success, before the fame, I was treated like I didn't belong. Laughed at, dismissed. That moment wasn't about revenge. It was about closure." Sunny nodded, her tone still measured but firm. "But when you're in your position, admired, respected, powerful, do you think it's fair to call that closure? Some people said it looked like punching down." Michael's expression hardened for a beat. He met her gaze directly. "If speaking truth is considered punching down," he said, his voice calm but heavy with conviction, "then maybe we need to ask who benefits from silence." The air thickened. The crowd didn't know whether to clap or stay quiet. They stayed quiet. Joy shifted awkwardly, glancing toward the producers. Anna looked uncertain, her usual humor gone. Sunny stayed steady, professional but clearly intrigued. The tension was real, unscripted, electric. Michael leaned forward slightly. "We always tell black men to take the high road," he said softly. "To smile through it. To be gracious when they're disrespected. To move on when no one ever says sorry. But sometimes silence becomes another form of surrender." The room went completely still. The applause sign blinked overhead, but no one moved. For the first time that morning, The View wasn't entertainment. It was truth unfolding live, raw and unguarded. The energy in the studio had changed. What began as a light-hearted interview was now a simmering debate. Michael's voice carried the weight of something deeper. Not anger, but exhaustion. "And when one of us chooses honesty over politeness," he said, his tone steady but laced with edge, "suddenly it's a character flaw." Sunny didn't look away. Her composure was firm, her tone deliberate. "That's not what I'm saying," she replied carefully. "I'm saying that public accountability is complicated. When you're in a position of power, how you respond to past pain sends a message. There are young men watching you, looking up to you. Do we really want to teach them that calling someone out on camera is strength?" Michael's gaze dropped for a moment, his jaw tightening as if holding something back. When he finally spoke, his voice was lower, more controlled, but every word carried heat. "I want them to know they don't have to shrink," he said. "That they're allowed to speak up. To stop dimming their light for the comfort of people who used to mock them. This isn't about being petty, it's about memory, about the weight we carry. And when someone pretends they never threw stones, sometimes the only way to answer is to remind them that you remember." Sonny leaned in slightly, calm, but unrelenting. "But don't we also have a responsibility to rise above? To lead with dignity, not just authenticity? Sometimes grace is the higher road." Michael's expression darkened. He gave a short, humorless laugh. "Grace," he said, shaking his head. "Grace has always been a one-way street for us. When have we ever been given the same grace we're expected to hand out? I'm tired. Tired of playing the gentle black man just to make everyone else comfortable." Joy Behar tried to jump in with a quick joke, desperate to cut the tension, but the words fell flat. No one laughed. Anna glanced nervously toward the producers, as if silently asking whether it was time for a commercial break. The air in the studio had gone heavy, sharp, alive. Michael turned back to Sonny, his tone now clipped and defiant. "You keep talking about grace. What about justice? What about truth? Do those only matter when they're delivered with a smile?" Sonny didn't blink. "We value truth," she replied quietly. "When it uplifts, not when it tears down." Michael leaned forward, his voice rising slightly, emotion breaking through the calm. "That's the problem. You think truth tears people down just because it makes you uncomfortable." His words cut through the air like glass. The tension snapped. Civility gave way to something raw and unfiltered. "You sit here asking me about accountability," Michael continued, "like I haven't been carrying it my entire life. Like I didn't grow up being called corny, mocked for having ambition until success made it convenient to like me. You don't know what it's like to build yourself from the ground up while everyone doubts you, and then watch those same people act like they always believed in you." Sonny remained composed, her tone steady even as the fire built around her. "And I'm asking you, as someone who supports your work," she said, "to consider how moments like that red carpet exchange reflect on the man you say you are." Michael gave a low, bitter chuckle. "The man I say I am?" he repeated. "You don't get to define that. I didn't come here to be psychoanalyzed. I came here to talk about my film, my purpose, not to be put on trial for having a backbone." The silence in the room thickened until it felt like another presence. Even the camera crew seemed frozen behind their lenses, unsure whether to cut or keep rolling. The audience shifted uneasily, their excitement from earlier replaced by something heavier, the sense that they were witnessing a moment no producer had planned for. Then, slowly, Michael stood. His movements were calm, deliberate, controlled, but his voice carried fire. "You know what?" he said evenly. "I'm done. I don't need to explain myself to someone who's already made up their mind. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to be real. And if being real doesn't fit your version of daytime TV, maybe it's time you think about what kind of truth you're really selling." Joy opened her mouth, maybe to stop him, maybe to save the show, but the moment had already passed. Michael adjusted his jacket, gave one brief look at the table of stunned faces, and started toward the exit. "Good luck with the rest of the show," he said over his shoulder, calm, final, before walking off stage. The door closed behind him, and the silence that followed was deafening. Sonny sat frozen for half a second, then forced a composed expression back onto her face. Joy blinked rapidly, searching for words that wouldn't come. Anna looked down at her notes, her eyes darting nervously toward the floor. Finally, Sarah, her voice barely above a whisper, broke the stillness. "Well," she said softly, glancing toward the camera. "We'll be right back." Before the producers could even cut to commercial, the screen faded abruptly, and within minutes of the episode airing, the internet erupted. Social media exploded like a spark hitting dry grass. The clip of Michael B. Jordan standing up and walking off The View spread across every platform in a storm of reactions and reposts. Hashtags like Train Michael B. Jordan Walk Off and The View Drama trended within the hour. The moment had gone far beyond television. It had entered the bloodstream of public conversation. Across Twitter, Opinions split instantly. Some praised Michael for his passion, calling the exchange powerful, authentic, and long overdue. Others accused him of being defensive, claiming he missed a chance to show restraint and turn the confrontation into a moment of grace. Commentators from every corner of the internet jumped in. Think pieces flooded blogs. TikTok users layered dramatic music over slowed clips of Michael pushing his chair back, his expression frozen between frustration and resolve. YouTube analysts broke down every word, every micro-expression, every pause like courtroom evidence. By evening, talk shows were replaying the moment on loop. Pundits debated whether Sunny Hostin had crossed a line or whether Michael had simply revealed a truth people weren't ready to face. The show's producers released a vague statement the next morning, filled with the kind of cautious diplomacy that said everything and nothing at once. We respect all voices and value open dialogue. Neither Michael nor Sunny was mentioned by name. But Michael didn't stay silent. Hours later, he posted a black screen to his Instagram story, with 3 words in white text: truth over comfort. No caption, no follow-up. That was it, and that was enough. The moment became viral not just for its drama but for its realness. In an era of scripted interviews and PR-approved soundbites, this unscripted clash felt alive, unfiltered. 2 public figures, each representing something larger than themselves, had collided, not with malice but with raw conviction. Michael's refusal to smooth over the discomfort, to stay seated and smile through tension, broke the familiar rhythm of celebrity diplomacy. It wasn't just about a red carpet incident anymore. It was about memory, identity, masculinity, race, and how much grace the world expects from people who've had to fight for respect. The episode triggered a larger question. How do we treat our heroes when they stop performing the version of themselves we prefer? How do we handle honesty when it's stripped of politeness? Viewers weren't just watching an argument. They were witnessing a mirror being held up to an audience conditioned to prefer charm over truth. The fallout rippled for days. Major talk shows dissected every frame. Podcasts spent entire episodes unpacking what the confrontation meant for modern media and black representation. News outlets republished old clips of Michael speaking about perseverance and identity, this time reframed through the lens of his walkout. Sunny Hostin, ever composed, stayed largely silent, releasing only a short statement thanking viewers for engaging in necessary conversations. But silence, as always, said more than words could. Meanwhile, the clip kept circulating, reposted, remixed, reinterpreted. Each share came with a new take, a new layer of emotion. Some saw a man defending his dignity. Others saw a celebrity cracking under scrutiny. But beneath the noise was something deeper, a collective recognition that this wasn't just about fame. It was about how we process truth, pain, and pride when they collide in public view. What made the moment endure wasn't how neatly it ended. It was the opposite. There was no apology tour, no media rehabilitation, no clean resolution. It stayed messy, human, unresolved, and that paradoxically made it powerful. In a culture obsessed with control and optics, something unfiltered had slipped through the cracks, a genuine, imperfect flash of emotion that couldn't be edited away. Michael B. Jordan never returned to clarify or soften his stance. He didn't post a Notes app apology or appear on late-night television to set the record straight. He left the conversation where it began, with honesty. And maybe that's why the moment mattered so much. Because in a world where vulnerability is expected to come dressed in politeness, he showed what happens when it doesn't. He walked away not in defeat, but in defiance, a quiet rebellion against the unspoken rules of celebrity decorum. And as the cameras cut and the audience sat in stunned silence, one truth lingered long after the headlines faded. Sometimes the most powerful statement isn't what you say. It's the act of standing up and walking away.